Yeah, don't worry about the time. You have plenty of time.
Yes, yes, okay, thank you.
Sorry for this.
Are you seeing?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So we have some technical problems, so we are almost at the end of the presentation. So I think I stopped in the fourth topic. So these tiles, paints, do not make their airplane invisible to all radar or even to radars of any given airworld. Fighter radars tend to use relatively short wavelengths. Ground-based radar tends to use longer wavelengths. It simply reduces the intensity of the reflection. RAN is most effective against shorter wavelength radars, such as on radar guide missiles and on most fighters. It's less effective against longer wavelengths, such as from ground-based radar. While early stealth airplanes made copious use of RAN, modern ones rely almost solely on their shape and use small amounts of RAN in a small number of critical spots, such as corners, openings, gaps. Many RAN substances are toxic, making airplane maintenance difficult. Some RAN has been claiming to lose effectiveness in the rain. Carbon nanotubes, buck papers, and metal organic framework are the tech hype. They offer a large bandwidth and great reflection losses to face enemy detection. So then we come to the end of the webinar. I would like to thank all those registered, and I am at your disposal for any possible doubts and questions. Here is also my social media and email. Stay free to send me questions or any other content. I will answer with great pleasure. Finally, I would like to thank AIAA, especially to Ken Louie, for inviting me, and I hope to see you soon. Have a great weekend, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. This is a wonderful presentation. So now we're open the floor to a Q&A. So please click raise hand, so you'll be able to speak out directly your question and interact with the speaker. You're also welcome to type the question in Q&A box if you like, but it's better to speak out. So please go ahead. I think this is a great opportunity. You know, the speaker talk about many aspects of the RCS and the material in terms of electronic warfare, and a lot of things that he might not be able to show the slides, but you are welcome to speak out.
Yes, I'm totally free, and you can begin.
See, can only see message to rejoin if already joined. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, no worries, Santosh. I think everyone has rejoined. From what I counted.
Yes, I think
Santosh,
yeah, before the technical problem, we have 19 subscribers, so all of those that could rejoin. So if we don't have any questions,
yeah, we have. Santosh has a question. Santosh, go ahead.
Yes, excellent presentation, by the way. Thank you for presenting this. My question basically is as follows. One, can you speak about the fact that stealth does, of course, we already know that it doesn't eliminate radar signature, it only lowers it, hence low observable, or it puts it into certain known quadrants or locations so that you can mission plan around it, such as behind the aircraft or to the side, whatever. And that poses the second part of the issue: is that any thoughts on the shoot down of Vega? Was it 41 or 30? I think it was Vega 31, which was the Lockheed F-117A Nighthawk. That was the first stealth jet that was shot down, combat jet that was shot down in combat, flown by Lieutenant Colonel Dale Zelko at the time. And some of the theories that I've heard are, one, the invisible man theory, that that the stealth was so good that the way that they identified where it was by the invisible man in the rain theory, that by turning up the signal to noise ratio, they would detect where there was a hole in the sky, from the atmospheric whatever being deflected away, and therefore that they were targeted. And the other theory is that they use the cell phone towers to, as a poor mine IADs, to collect the areas where the energy was deflected. Going back to what I first said, of the stealth doesn't low observable stealth doesn't eliminate the radar energy. It just sends it in certain directions. So you have to mission plan around it. Any thoughts on those?
Yes. It's a very good question. So we have many theories about the shoot down about the F-170. I think that the more acceptable is the aircraft was detected by a VHF radar. So the frequency is lower than the normal radar, and VHF is known in the literature about the stealth hunters. So in the aircraft we have points, we have resonance frequencies. So VHF today is knowing about stealth hunters. So I think it's the theory that is more related to the popular knowing. So we have many kinds of this, but I really believe that is a VHF radar. So a cell phone tower can detect. The other theory that I heard is bistatic radar. So with a bistatic radar, we can detect stealth fighters more easier. So I don't know if I answer your question, but is the theories that I believe.
Well, I think it was more than just a VHF alone. It's also how they collected the scattered radar data, because regardless of whether it's VHF or microwave or whatever, the shaping should still disperse the energy into certain known locations. So I think a lot of it also had to deal with how they collected it, the method of collection of the thing to triangulate location.
It's a big mystery, but I think it's in a resonance areas. So every kind of shape and at certain angle, we have this resonance area. So in a specific inside the VHF band or nearly of the HF band, we have this kind of reflection. So we emit on the VHF or the HF frequency, we can achieve this resonance area, so we can detect the stealth aircraft.
Okay, so the resonance from the VHF is what allowed it to defeat the stealth completely by allowing it to reflect back. Now, what about the invisible man in the rain theory? Is there any merit to that? The whole idea that the stealth was so good that you just have to turn up the signal to noise ratio to catch the atmospherics, and then find where the hole is in the sky, and where the enemy.
I didn't understand very well your question. Could you repeat?
Yeah, one of the theories I had heard was the invisible man in the rain. The invisible man is walking in the rain. You will know where the invisible man is because the rain does not hit the ground wherever he's standing. That's the invisible man in the theory, in the rain theory. So similarly applied to stealth, what they were saying is that the area where the F-117 would have been, they would have seen a radar hole in the sky from whatever atmospherics being deflected away. So they were seeing an electromagnetic hole in the sky, and that's how they would, by deduction, be able to determine that that's where he is, because he's not where else. Any merits?
Yes. I've heard this theory, but I don't know. It's quite difficult to relate some points, and I will give an information. So in Kosovo War, we have a shutdown of the F-117, and the Italian aircraft has not any aircraft shutdown. They use the Tornado and the AMX. It's not a generation of fighter aircraft, and they are not detected by the radar. So it's a really huge mystery inside this conflict. Why the F-117 has detected, and the Tornado or the AMX are not? It's a good point. If you
Michael,
could,
sorry.
Yeah, you can talk. Yeah.
Okay, what I said was, as Michael put it, there are also tactics involved. So if you were using predictable flight schedules and predictable flight patterns, it doesn't matter how much stealth you have, they're going to find you. So I think that's part of the reason non-stealth aircraft were able to evade shoot down, because they were being unpredictable, therefore harder to find. But I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
You are totally right. Tactics and stealth are closely interrelated. It doesn't matter if we have a aircraft with many radar absorbing material if we don't have a good tactic. So we must combine these types of words and made a good approach to a radar site or any kind of targets. Okay.
Next, Gus, Dr. Odonis, do you want to speak out?
Renan, this was a very nice presentation, and I want to congratulate you because you've taken an approach that's explaining from the basics to really how electromagnetic field works. I wanted to ask you a question, but also give the audience a couple of feedback points regarding publications. First, since you are a Brazilian pilot, can you let us know how does the Brazilian Air Force or the Brazilian industry handle radar, and how does that industry stand right now? And how does the Brazilian Air Force train pilots from an RCS perspective, from a maneuvers capability? Second, just a data point for the audience. Robert Ball is a distinguished professor at the Naval Postgraduate School, and he and service engineering, for those who are interested, developed a survivability manual for aircraft that does not quite get into RCS modifications, but really consult with aircraft companies on how to make an aircraft more survivable in case it gets shut down or in case it gets hit. Point is to try to bring the aircraft back to ground safely. That's one. And second, just a thumbs up for a very good book that is called Introduction to Airborne Radar by George Stimson. He and Bob Smith from former General Electric engine company who worked quite a bit into designing RCS aircraft that surfaces, and I would recommend that for those who are interested. Go ahead, Renan.
Okay, Gus. Thank you for your appreciation. Your audio is quite bad for me, but I think I understand your first question. How the Brazilian Air Force train your pilot to manage the RCS or the fighter pilots? That's it?
Yes.
Okay. We have inside the Brazilian Air Force a roadmap to form not only the pilots, but also the infantry officers, and sometimes the other specialties. So we have the basic ground on electronic warfare. It's a course that has 3 weeks of introduction. After that, we have a specialization about the electromagnetic environment, that a course that during 6 months, and at the final of this course, the students must to present a thesis that abords an operational problem and how the students handle with the electromagnetic theory this problem. After that, we have the masters. The masters from the ITA, the Aeronautical Institute of Technology, and we have more deeply theory inside this topic, the electronic warfare, and we have the doctorates at the final. So we have this roadmap. We have the basics, the specialization, the masters, the doctorates, and that's it. We have the higher ground on electronic warfare inside the Brazilian Air Force. That's it.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, yeah, this is Michael. Yeah, question, yeah, what do you see in stealth as what you can tell within the next 20, 25 years? I mean, there's, stealth now, and then there's counter stealth, with radar coming up, and then there will be counter stealth and counter stealth. Will stealth be relevant? I mean, it's way out in the future. Still relevant in 50 years?
Yes, it's a very good question. In fact, I don't know, but I have some thoughts about this. As I can comment on the presentation, we have today the carbon nanotubes and the MOF, the metal organic framework. The metal organic framework is a kind of new combination about the carbon particles and metal particles. This is not a nature combination. It's synthesized in laboratory, this unit. So we have a really good results on this, on absorbing electromagnetic radiance. We have about 19 dB of absorption or reflection loss in a large bandwidth, like L to X band on radio. So I think it's the future of stealth, based on mixed on carbon nanotubes and MOF, metal organic framework. I think it's the future. And if we return back to basics on the radar equation, the RCS is the only way to count over the radar detection. So we can reduce dramatically our RCS, pointing out this parameter inside the radar equation. So I think to invest on stealth, it's the best way to get the better position in battle. So we have some counter and counter and counter, like you comment, but I think it's the best way to get a good position on that, investing on stealth.
So Renan, are you going to respond to it or?
Oh, the third one, the Santosh Kuma.
Santosh, you can go ahead. Speak
Oh
out.
yeah, just to take back on Michael's question into the future. Any thoughts on some of the esoteric type stuff for EM
Yes,
cloaking,
yes.
such as plasma or other coils or whatever to create like an ionic sheath around the aircraft? And of course, the negative effect is doing something ridiculous like that would be, how are you going to communicate? You would be Nordo, as far as your navigation systems, whatever. Because I think because modern combat aircraft, they still have radars and communication capability even while maintaining their stealth, because they use satellite communication and or other bands. They have, I'm sure, classified methods of still being able to maintain sight. So just some thoughts on some of the more esoteric methods of cloaking the aircraft.
Yes, yes.
So Santosh, is that your question answered?
Yeah. Are you aware of any of the more esoteric methods, such as EM cloaking and plasma sheets or ionic, cloaks around the aircraft that are generated, as opposed to relying on just RAM and RCS reduction?
Renan, are you ready to answer Santosh's question, or you want to wait a little bit?
Yeah, I have a little unstable internet, but I think I could heard this question. I think the plasma and ionic cloaking is a good way to point, but they are very, very secret projects. We don't have any kind of information of this, and I don't have so proper to comment. So I know this. So the ionic clothing and the plasma. So we have a very, very top secret point. So I don't have any idea what is the main idea behind this approach. So I can handle with this at the moment.
Are you able to at least address, even with current stealth, let alone in the future, one of the big problems, of course, with the cloaking type stuff is how are you going to communicate? Because currently with current stealth, they use antennas on the dorsal side that can communicate with satellites, right? Because the energy going upward towards space will not be directed downward, therefore you won't be detected as long as you're in an upright flight condition, straight and level type scenario. But in terms of like the B-2, for example, has a radar that's designed, and I'm sure the F-117, all these aircraft do have radar to be able to target the enemies. But one of the fundamental problems is if you're an emitter, you're going to be detected. So any thoughts, without going into any classification type stuff, of generally speaking, how they can avoid detection while still being able to maintain a radar site picture, other than just using different frequency bands?
In fact, I don't know. I don't know because I don't have this type of study, and I think it's difficult to think about this. I don't have any idea to face this point.
Yeah, Santosh, just my personal, so the technology you mentioned, plasma cloaking, I think these are more active, you know, they require some power consumption versus right now you're using material angle, you know, RCS, those things, they are more passive. They don't require a lot of power. So don't you think this technology might consume more energy than, you know, we already?
That is a concern, is how much energy we required.
Yeah.
But the issue also is that with the amount of power, ultimately the source of power for all these aircraft will be the engines. So like an aircraft like the F-35, whatever, you got so much thrust and energy being generated by the engines. You know, how does that weigh in with the amount of energy required to do this cloaking thing? But I think the bigger issue is that you can have all kinds of esoteric technology, but if it hampers your own ability to function and communicate and target, then yeah, you're all stealth. No one can see you, but you can't see anybody or communicate with anybody either. So now you're now useless in combat as well. And I think that's a fundamental issue.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Renan, did you see Jeff's question? He said his question was answered.
Yes, I can read it and I answer.
Okay. Yes.
Will LO continue to be useful in all band mode stack future, or will we have to look other technology to survive? Definitely, we look to other technology to survive. The hypersonics is a good example to do this. So we have a specific job to face any kind of threat. So that's it. I think it's not possible to escape to this.
Yeah, Renan, you're right. Recently, the news about the Raytheon's Hawk missile, hypersonic, you know, those things. Indeed, you know, those things are moving very fast.
Yes.
Yeah, Raytheon did a very good job, you know, so. Okay, so you see, Pat, I mean, I think Pat, do you want to speak out to Captain Richter?
He's just thanking for.
I was just thanking you for a great talk. I appreciate the work you put into this. It's a great summary, so thank you very much. And I tried to do it in your language.
Yes. I really appreciate your deference. So thank you so much, Pat. I really enjoy to make this webinar, and I really like to continue to sharing my knowledge. It's not about the biggest one, but it's a really interesting topic to me, and I continuing to research and for the future commitment of with the AIAA or other persons that are interested to share any knowledge with me. I'm very open. I'm with arms wide open. Yes, thank you.
So if I can ask one other question, how is it that a person is interested in stealth when they fly the P-3, which is not the stealthiest of airplanes? What comes next for you?
I don't know, because inside the Brazilian Air Force, we don't have a prediction to. First of all, I flew the P-3 Orion. So after that, I begin to study electronic warfare. So I can handle with the future. So today I'm very interested in stealth, but I'm not flying P-3 Orion as well.
Well, thanks again, and best wishes to you going forward. This is great stuff.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any chance the Brazilians would transition to the P-8 Poseidon moving?
Santosh, you may want to repeat your question.
Being a P-3 Orion driver, any chance that the Brazilian Air Force or Navy, depending on who's flying it, would transition to the P-8 Poseidon, the Boeing P-8 Poseidon, based on the Boeing 737-800, I think is what it is, the next generation?
Are you asking for the Brazilian Air Force to change to P-8?
Are they going to eventually move to the P-8? Is that on the horizon as the roadmap once the P-3 is retired?
For the Brazilian Air Force at the present moment, no. We have a P-3 Orion only, so we don't have any plans to change these aircraft, despite the fact they have very problems of logistics and flying hours. So, but we don't have any plan at the present moment to change the P-3 Orion for the P-8 or other projects.
And one of the problems with the P-8 is that with all, even though it has all this wonderful technology and it's new and everything, because it's turbofan as opposed to turboprop, it has great range, but it can't loiter very long once it gets on station. Whereas the P-3, it has great loiter capability. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of countries prefer the P-8. I'm sorry, P-3 Orion, because of the fact that you can shut down one of the engines and actually loiter longer on station, as opposed to being, with a jet where you have to go in and to get out.
Yes. I have been on VP-30 on Jacksonville on the simulator, and I have a flight with 2 engines only. The P-3 is an excellent aircraft. We have loitering missions. We have endurance of about 13 hours on station. So it's a very, very, very good aircraft.
This is a big issue when the Malaysian Airlines went down. We're trying to search for it. Is that the P-8 was able to cover a bigger area of ocean by getting there quicker. But once it got on station, they already had to go back. They're already hitting bingo. Whereas with the P-3, they could loiter there much longer. So that was the reason why they had to kind of use a mix of both to get the job done.
Yes. The difference about the turboprop and reaction engine. So with a turboprop, we must to fly at lower levels. We have a good advantage to the P-8, for example.
Makes sense because jets have to go up high to be fuel efficient.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Brian, I saw your mic is on shortly. Brian, do you want to speak out?
Yes, my thanks as well for the great, I really appreciate it. It's totally my pleasure.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Renan. But I think Brian, Mr. Min, I thought you were trying to unmute and speak out. Or Jesse, or Brian, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I really enjoyed the presentation. I am not really an expert in this area, although I worked in the aerospace for quite a while. I've been just listening, so thank you very much. I might have one question actually. There is always this engine problem. I think someone mentioned about the engine. The heat essentially is an electromagnetic wave. So how do you make the heat to be stealth?
Oh yeah, it's a good question. It's a very good point to do this, because I only talk about the stealth related to electromagnetic waves related to radar. So we have the stealth for the infrared radiation. So the mainly objective to do this is a flattened nozzles about the engine, that we could mix the air, the hot air with the cold air. So the flattened nozzles about inside the engine, flattened nozzles, we could mix the hot air and the cold air. Is the one of the most applicable ways to reduce the infrared signature for the stealth in this bandwidth.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jesse, I think you have asked some question earlier. Do you want to speak out, Jesse? Oh, maybe not. Okay, while we're waiting, I do have a question. When you mentioned about photonic materials, but now you're talking about electromagnetic waves. So, so when you talk about you are doing the photonic material research for RCS, are you specifically talking about optical, or you are actually still referring to the electromagnetic frequencies?
Yes, my work related to photonics is not about the RCS. It's related to jamming. So
okay, I see. Sorry, yeah, I see.
But we can talk if you prefer.
If you if you want, you can say a few words if you like. Yeah.
Yes, it's a really short speak. So related to microwave photonics, I have worked with digital radio frequency memory related to the next generation jamming inside the growler. So I have studied mainly the bottlenecks inside the DRFM, the digital radio frequency memory. So I have made a layout that is a photonic radio frequency memory. I could mix a radio frequency inside a light carrier, inside a photonic loop, a fiberglass loop with 4 kilometers of height, and I could store this pulse about 80 microseconds inside. So this layout is useful to do some techniques related to jamming, like the range gauge pull off. So we depict the enemy radar with false targets. I don't know if he is familiar to the audience, but it's the main idea. It's a memory to make this type of jamming technique, the range gauge pull off. We steal the gauge of the enemy radar and put false targets inside the enemy radar. It's basically do that.
Okay, I see. So just a personal question. So at which stage are you about to finish your thesis, or is still like a year to go, or you are about finish for your PhD study?
Yes, I can share as you prefer.
No, I mean, your thesis study? Are you in the last final year? Are you this PhD thesis? The research has been completed, or you still need 2 years, 1 year to go?
No, it is already complete. It was my master's. It was my master's. Yeah. I can share with you.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions?
I don't see, but I do have something in my mind when you come up. Okay, so when you talking about the cells, they are very good principle and the development, but but you know there is a kind of new system like Russia has the SAM, the new SAM system coming out. So how do you how do you kind of link this together? Are they more capable than the conventional system, or what you mentioned already, you know, kind of cover that can kind of more stealth against those the same missile defense system?
It's a very difficult point and a very challenging point, because the Russian is a big black box. We don't know nothing.
I see, I see.
Particularly, we are the Brazilian. We don't have the most brilliant intelligence, neither the most armored forces. So it's really difficult to us. I think it's only a common project between the United States and the allied force. We can discuss with more details and to face the threat. So it's very difficult.
That's true. And in I don't think any country or thing around Brazil deploy any the SAM system. I don't think anyone.
Yes.
So
yes. Venezuela.
Venezuela has one.
Yes.
Oh.
S-300.
Okay.
S-300. Yes.
Okay.
It's a very, very, very difficult point to face. It's a huge sense site and very capable one, and made by Russians.
Interesting.
Yes.
I see. I didn't realize. I was saying like Cuba might have one, but instead it's a Venezuela.
Yes, Venezuela has two. The S-300, S-300.
Yeah, not the 400, not the newest one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, China just bought the several system of the S-400. So I don't know any other country actually has S-400, because S-400 is new for Russia as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so Venezuela has 300. That's easy. So yeah, in a sense, there's no immediate threat near or around Brazil other than Venezuela. So it's kind of, you know, it's a good study topic, but it's not imminent danger or anything.
Yes.
That's true. I see. So PhD. So you're saying you have written your master's thesis. Okay, that's good. All right. So any more questions, folks? I do have more, but I don't want to keep dragging the speaker. I can check with him, you know, afterwards. But if you have any good question, this is the right time. Please click raise hand or type in the Q&A. I know this is a hot topic. You know, this is a great opportunity. Yeah, previously we have the pilot talking about Growler and engineering manager talking about the Growler, but now we have you know, pilot and the engineer. That's really the best combination for this topic. Yeah, this is actually a very big topic for aerospace, because, you know, people these days, I think if you have a jammer or you can paralyze the enemy, you know, like power system or facilities or cybersecurity, and you don't even have to fire a missile, you know. So this is a, you know, very interesting modern warfare, and it's heavily aerospace. So just well, but that's fine. This is just the beginning. You know, the speaker will come back to speak with us and post newsletter article, and so yeah, I understand this is just the beginning. So okay, so if you have don't have any more questions, so let's thank our speaker today. He did a wonderful job. It's just amazing, and we are all so excited and inspired. So thank you, Renan. Please stay in touch. This is really wonderful. So we will post the recording after the event. And Michael said, thank you, excellent presentation. Yeah, everybody agree. This is wonderful. Really, it's great presentation. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really thank you, Ken, for inviting me to do today and present this a little part of my study, and I really appreciate all the questions, and I wish to thank you all for especially so Santosh, Michael, Brian, Pat, and I really appreciate. I hope we can do more events in the future, and I wish you all a great weekend. So that's it. See you.
See you,
Bye-bye.
Renan. Thank you. Thank you. Well,
Thank
we
you.
can talk about your next presentation when you have the chance.
Okay. My next presentation is inside the Association of Old Crows on January. January, I think it's the 29 January.
Okay. Then we
Talking
can
about, yeah.
yeah. Then we can arrange another AIAA presentation after after that, or before that if you like.
Oh, as you prefer. I'm
Okay.
totally open. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you.
Bye. See you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much again. I wish you enjoyed the wonderful presentation today.
Ken,
So,
any way you guys could post the links for the stuff into the chat or something, or make it available, because it's hard to grab it from the